Senator Francis Heyliger, point of inquiry.
Good morning. Point of inquiry. When you were speaking about positions, I wasn't sure in a specific position you referenced. Did you say that there's a commissioner of insurance position that is vacant or it needs to be filled?
No, I indicated that that particular funding source provides funding for one of our positions that's difficult to fill, financial services examiner position. It's under our division of banking, insurance, and financial regulation. So I was using that as an example of they were positions that we were able to retain, and we have been working to try to fill. We're to the point now of actually putting out ads in local papers. Does that answer your question, Senator?
No. Commissioner of insurance, that is no longer a position that's available.
It's a fund. It's not a position.
So that's what I'm trying to understand.
It's a fund.
It's a fund.
It's a fund.
All righty. Thank you.
And if I may, Commissioner Monica Williams-Carvin, Commissioner of Insurance is the actual title via his position of the Lieutenant Governor. He wears that hat.
That's why I was trying to get clarity, because it seemed like you were talking about a fund, but I also know the Lieutenant Governor is the Commissioner of Insurance, so I needed clarity. But go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
We thank you so much. What are your actuals for?
Thank you.
Senator Francis Heyliger.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, testifiers. Good afternoon to the people of the territory.
Good afternoon,
Thank you. The question I want to ask quickly, the $100 million that you guys referenced earlier, have you done an assessment as to what percentage of those monies are tied up in probate, as to why they haven't been collected, to see what portion of it is properties that are dealing with probate cases?
I'll begin the answer, Monica Williams-Carvin. That number that you have actually has to be cleaned up, so it may not be that 100 million.
It doesn't even have to be 100 million. It could be 80 million.
Yeah.
Have you done any assessment to see what portion of those uncollected funds have to do with probate, where properties are tied up and going through the judicial process?
Okay, and that's part of the process that we have to do before moving forward, even with the auction process. Okay. But I'll let Tax Collector Laird elaborate on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, good afternoon, Senator. Brent Laird, I'm tax collector. The probate cases are constantly being added to our database as we receive information from those persons. And so we ask people,
what is the total amount?
to let us.
I understand they're being added. Could you tell me an amount? I'm trying to get the numbers so I could better understand what's happening here. Do you have an amount?
No, we do not, Senator.
Okay. The question I asked earlier when I did a point of inquiry, do you have the answer for me right now in regards to the total amount of property taxes, dollar amount that was issued in 2020, and what amount was residential and what amount was corporate?
That information, we are gaining it for you. We have to go through the reports to pick out the information by class, but we will follow up with this information for you.
Quick question. So we have a system. That you're saying you have to go pick it out, or is it something you could just generate by punching in to differentiate between the two? How does the system work?
Well, the system that we currently have allows us to query the probate cases that we have recorded.
I didn't ask about probate. Well, stop. The question I asked in regards to how do you differentiate between corporate and residential taxes, because you just told me you have to go pick it out in order to give me the information. So I'm asking you, does the system allow you to go in and separate the two to give me that information? And how long is it going to take for you to give it to me? Will I be able to get it before this is out?
Yes, the system allows us, Senator, to retrieve the information. Oftentimes, we have to compile the reports. In this case, we would need to compile the reports for the different islands to be able to tell you specifically in each class what is owed.
Would I be able to get the information today before I leave?
Not while I'm in this session, Senator, but we can follow up with this information.
Thank you. The next question I want to ask, unclaimed funds. I sent a letter to the Lieutenant Governor's office on June the 9th in regards to the process that is being currently taken in regards to unclaimed funds and abandoned property. The letter listed specific things about how are you handling them, how are you reporting them, how are you documenting them, are you following the law in regards to reporting them to the public. The last documentation I found online was, I believe, from 2010, where you had a listing of individuals. In your reporting on page 14, you said the division is in the process of creating a system to manage the unclaimed and abandoned property. These things have been in existence and you've been collecting these things for years. So could you tell me what the current process is and the amount that is currently collected? And have you been following the procedure of notifying individuals in regards to unclaimed property and abandoned property?
I will let Director Brady provide a response.
Good day, Gwen Brady, Director of the Division of Banking, Insurance, and Financial Regulation. Senator, Lieutenant Governor Roach has received your letter, and do know that he is going to respond very comprehensively to each of the items listed there, including the questions you've asked today.
Okay. So the question I'm asking now, what is the current procedure?
We are in compliance with the law, but he will respond comprehensively.
Well, that's to the letter. Outside of the letter, can anyone share with me what the current procedure is?
Yes, but that's one of the questions in the letter, and he is going to respond.
That is regards to a letter. I'm speaking about what is in the law right now, and I have testifiers in front of me. So I'm asking, does anyone know what they are, and are you guys in compliance? I could get a letter. This was written on June the 9th. Today is what, the 21st of July. So I'm sure whenever he gets around to answering that letter, I'll get it. But the question I'm asking you is in regards to the total amount of the money, and is the procedures currently being followed? Because if we are in a budget hearing, those monies and funds should be accounted for and represented here. So that's what I'm asking. What category are those funds in, and could you give me a total amount? I can wait for the letter, but I need an answer in regards to this part now.
But with all due respect, Senator, that is still the same that you asked in the letter of June 9th, and he will respond. The Lieutenant Governor by statute is the administrator of the unclaimed and abandoned property program, and only he can respond to that.
Okay, so you're saying only he can answer me. Mm-hmm. So in a budget hearing right now, we don't have any part of the budget to explain to me what amount is in the Lieutenant Governor's office as it relates to unclaimed funds?
We don't have that information available, Senator, and it will be provided to you by the Lieutenant Governor as administrator of the program.
The question again, as a part of the budget, if abandoned funds are not claimed and it's turned over and it now becomes a part of the government, wouldn't those funds be a part of your budget? And if so, what is the amount? That could be, this letter has nothing to do with a legitimate question in regards to the budget that we're dealing with right now.
But what I'm trying to state, Senator, very respectfully so, is that we're not prepared to answer that question today. Those questions will be added to the letter. We will inform the Lieutenant Governor, and he will be responding to you very comprehensively.
If I may, Senator Monica Williams-Carbon.
Yes, ma'am.
As far as the budget, those funds would not become part of the budget. We hold those funds for persons when they come in to request
I totally understand
amount,
that,
so it wouldn't be
but
part
I'm
of the
asking
budget.
you this. If I know if monies are not claimed at some point, it is then turned over to the government. So it now becomes a part of the government, and they have to be accounted for. And that is the part I'm trying to get to. I have spoken to people, and this has been ongoing for me for a long time. Between asking questions directly, between the last time the OMB director sat here, I asked her, she doesn't know anything. I'm not even questioning. Could I just ask my last question, because
Yes, you may. Go ahead. You can finish what you were just stating and then go to your last question.
Thank you. I asked the OMB director. She doesn't know anything about it. I find it very uneasy where there's a specific aspect of our government where monies are turned over to the government. You're supposed to notify individuals. I cannot find on record for where these notifications are being done, even based according to the law, which is supposedly by the end of November the 30th of each year. I look on your website, I can't find the information. I send letters, it's a month and a half later, I'm not getting a response. So here I'm asking for those that are not collected, people didn't come for them, and it now turns over to the government, which you have to show me that it's accounted for. I'm not getting an answer. So you understand, or hopefully you understand where my confusion is.
Senator?
Yes.
Claudette Farrington, as part of the request that was sent to us from Post Audit, they had made inquiries as far as unclaimed properties are concerned. They are not part of our budget. There's an account for that. And I think the information we provided to the Post Auditor as of early 2021.
That was my initial
As
question.
of early 2021, there's a separate account for that. Okay, so it has nothing to do with our budgets. And Division of Banking continues to process payments to.
What is the amount in
clients and
that?
so forth.
What is the total
So
amount?
based on the information we had provided to Post Audit as of February, unclaimed property fund had around $13 million.
Okay, you had a concluding question?
Yes, my final question. Thank you very much. In regards to the appeals process when it comes to property taxes, because I know you said that some individuals are in payment plans, etc. The appeals process, I got a copy of the paperwork for 2020 and how you go through the process. I had several constituents contact me very concerned, saying that they have been stuck in the process where they were not satisfied with certain things, how they appealed in regards to payment of property taxes. Explain to me, is the board of what is the
Board of Tax Review.
Board of Tax Review. What is the current status of that? Because if we're talking that Lieutenant Governor's office is one of the larger that brings in revenues, I need to understand the process. And in regards of the Board of Tax Review, what is the current status of that? And if people have issues with their taxes that they have filed to get reassessed, or they have concerns with it and they're not satisfied, how do they continue on to the process? What is the status of the Board of Tax Review?
Okay, Mr. Mills, tax assessors, will
Thank you.
respond.
Morning. Tax Assessor Ira Mills. The process, we have two basic processes. We have an informal process, and when your bill is issued, we indicate on that bill that you have 45 days if you're unsatisfied with the taxes and your assessment, that you can file an informal appeal with the Office of the Tax Assessor. If for whatever reason you feel that you don't want to go to them, because the Office of the Tax Assessor, you can take your appeal directly to the Board of Tax Review.
What is the status
And
of the Board of Tax Review
The
right now?
Board of Tax Review is active and going.
How many members? And that's it.
They have, I think, about 5. I think there's about 5 of them. There's representation from the banking, accounting. The Commissioner of Finance is the head of that board. And if you are going to the Board of Tax Review, you're required to pay at least half of the difference between what you paid before and this new assessment. And then you're allowed to go to the board. The board sets up a time, and you appear before the board. You state your case. We appear before the board. We state our case, and the board then makes the decision the decision of the board then becomes final unless that case is further appealed to the court.
Okay. Thank you so
you.
much for that information. Thank you for the indulgence,
welcome.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Francis Heyliger. Thank you. Point of inquiry, Senator, who was it? Senator Francis Heyliger?
Good afternoon. When I asked the question earlier in regards to the percentage as it relates to probate versus the collections, because that's important to me, because we know there's a large issue at times dealing with the judicial system. Not every aspect of property taxes has to do with family members not wanting to pay. Some of it is because some of these things are stuck in our judicial system for years. Are those property going to be susceptible to potentially going through the auction process as well?
Okay, Attorney McLean, I'm going to let you speak to that, please, as regards to the process.
Yes, ma'am. No. When properties are in probate, just for the record, we like properties that are in probate, because probate, you go to the court and the court gives an order of administration to a person or an institution. But there is a person who is responsible for this property that is now part of the estate of the decedent. So we like having a name, because then we know who to send the bill to. We know who to contact if something goes awry. So we like probate. Secondly, with respect to probate, we do not sell those properties. Because normally it's a little, you need permission from the court. It's just different. It's a court order proceeding. So we're not going to sell it. It's just a little more challenging. But we do have someone who is responsible for the taxes. I don't know if that helps to clarify things a little.
Thank you for your response.
Senator Joseph? Francis Heyliger, then I'm going to go to Senator Saru and then come back. Okay, Senator Francis Heyliger.
I have been sitting here for a very long time listening to the testifiers, and one of the things that have really been a cry in my side has to do with the rules and regulations being followed in regards to before you get to the point of publishing someone's name in the papers. One of the things in regards to those rules and our law is specific as to what myself and colleagues have been talking about. I know for a fact these notices have not been going out, because even with your own testimony and one of the gentlemen here, you guys were very adamant about sending out your publication with people's lists, but you never reference doing the notices. And that's something you guys have not been doing for a very long time. And the problem with that is, unless somebody sues this government, because you cannot have laws on the books where you circumvent the whole process and jump straight to the part about publication, and then that causes a major issue, because then people could come and sue this government for you guys not following the process. If you did 20,000 of them, you guys are responsible to prove that you sent out 20,000 letters. But this is not happening. And it's a major problem for me as a representative of the people when you were here all giddy about publication in the newspaper, but then you're telling me you never even gone through the process to make sure that these notices were being sent out. And this is not just for this year. This has been for several years, because I personally had to help individuals challenge these situations with the Lieutenant Governor's office. So I'm only asking, last statement, I'm only asking that you guys please follow the procedure, because it's a safe haven for the government as well as protecting the people of this territory to retain their property if they need to. Thank you.
If I may clarify.
Attorney Caban, I think that we did ask that, and you said before. Senator Francis Heyliger.
When a property is assessed, when you spoke about the sewer fees, is it assessed in regards to making sure, because I know some properties have their own septic system, is there a difference with it being put on their bill in regards to that?
No, you're asking if, let me just restate it to make sure I understand.
Yes.
If a property is not connected to the sewer system,
Yes.
are they charged?
Yes.
The answer is not initially, but eventually, when they remove stuff from their septic, a truck takes it, puts it in our waste management facility, and they're charged for that service at that time. Otherwise, if you're directly connected to sewer lines, or if you come within a certain number of yards of the sewer line, you pay the sewer fee.
So basically, the question is, so it's not going to be on their bill, but they're charged if they utilize the service to pump
Yes.
their system.
Yes, Senator.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Senator Francis Heyliger.